Let me tell you something that might hit a little too close to home. There are people right now making $100,000 per year, and they are broke. And at the exact same time, there are people making $40,000 per year, quietly building wealth, sleeping peacefully at night, and never stressing about money. Now look, that makes zero sense on the surface, because we've been told our entire lives that income is the thing that makes you financially stable. But here's the thing, income doesn't make you stable. Rules do. And in this video, I'm going to show you the basic money rules that if you follow them, it becomes almost impossible to be financially unstable. Not unlikely, not difficult, impossible. And the crazy part is, these rules have nothing to do with being smart. They have everything to do with behavior. And later in this video, I'm going to show you one rule that looks completely harmless, but statistically is the reason over 60% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, according to a 2023 Lending Club report, even people making over $100,000. But first, we need to start with the rule that quietly controls everything. Because if you don't understand this one, none of the others will stick. Here's the first rule. You must make your lifestyle grow slower than your income. Now, here's the payoff. If you follow this one rule, you will automatically build wealth without trying. And here's what most people don't realize. Most people get raises and immediately spend them. You get a $5,000 raise, and suddenly you have a nicer apartment, a nicer car, more subscriptions, more eating out. And psychologically, this feels harmless because you tell yourself, I earned this, and you did. But here's where it gets interesting. Let's do the math. Let's say you make $50,000 per year and you spend $45,000. You save $5,000. Now you get a raise to $60,000. But instead of saving $15,000, you increase your lifestyle to $57,000. Now you're only saving $3,000. Your income went up $10,000, but your savings went down $2,000. This is called lifestyle inflation, and it is one of the most dangerous financial traps in existence because it happens invisibly. You don't feel like you're making bad decisions. You feel like you're upgrading your life, but in reality, you're upgrading your expenses, not your future. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but what's wrong with enjoying your money? Nothing. Here's how. You enjoy your money after you secure your stability, not before, because here's the second rule, and this one changes everything. You must create distance between yourself and financial disaster. Now, here's the payoff. Once you follow this rule, unexpected expenses stop feeling like emergencies and start feeling like inconveniences. This is where emergency funds come in. Now I know everyone talks about emergency funds, but nobody explains why they are so powerful psychologically. Here's what most people don't realize. Financial stress isn't caused by expenses. It's caused by lack of control. According to the American Psychological Association, money is the #1 source of stress in America, not because people are poor, but because people are fragile. One unexpected $1,000 expense and everything falls apart. Car repair, medical bill, job loss. And here's the scary part. According to the Federal Reserve, over 37% of Americans cannot cover a $400 emergency without borrowing money. $400. That's less than most people's monthly car payment. Now look, here's how you fix this permanently. You build a financial wall. Your first goal is $1,000, then $3,000, then 6 months of expenses. Because once you have 6 months, you become dangerous. You stop tolerating toxic jobs. You stop making desperate decisions. You stop living in fear. And later, I'm going to show you how this connects to becoming wealthy faster than people who earn twice as much as you. But first, we need to talk about the rule that controls 90% of your financial life. Here it is. You must control your fixed expenses. Now here's the payoff. If you lower your fixed expenses, you permanently increase your freedom. Not temporarily, permanently. Here's what most people don't realize. There are 2 types of expenses, variable expenses and fixed expenses. Variable expenses are things like eating out, shopping, entertainment. These matter. But fixed expenses, these are the real killers. Your rent, your car payment, your insurance, because these are locked in every single month. Let me show you something shocking. Let's say you save $300 per month on rent by choosing a cheaper apartment. That's $3,600 per year. Over 10 years, that's $36,000. Invested at 8%. That becomes over $50,000 from one decision. One. And here's the psychological trap. People will drive across town to save $5 on groceries, but sign a 6-year car loan that costs them $20,000 in interest because fixed expenses feel normal. And normal feels safe. But normal is expensive. And this leads directly into the next rule. And this one might offend some people, but it's the truth. You must avoid car payments as much as humanly possible. Now here's the payoff. If you eliminate car payments, you can invest hundreds of thousands more over your lifetime. Here's how. The average car payment in America is over $700 per month, according to Experian. That's $8,400 per year. If you invested that instead for 40 years at 8%, that becomes over $2 million. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but I need a reliable car. Yes, but reliable doesn't mean expensive. Here's the mistake people make. They buy cars based on emotion, not math. A car is transportation, not a wealth-building tool. And every dollar tied up in a depreciating asset is a dollar not building your future. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Because the next rule is the one that separates people who stay stable from people who become wealthy. And it sounds simple, but almost nobody follows it. You must invest automatically. Now here's the payoff. Automation removes the need for discipline. Because here's the truth. Discipline is unreliable. Motivation fades. Life gets busy. But automation is permanent. According to Vanguard, investors who automate their contributions accumulate significantly more wealth than those who invest manually because they remove the decision. No decision, no emotion, no hesitation. Let me show you the math. If you invest $500 per month from age 25 to 65, at 8%, you end up with over $1.5 million. But if you wait 10 years and start at 35, you end up with only $680,000. You lose over $800,000 by waiting 10 years. Time is not important. Time is everything. And this connects to the next rule, because this is where most people destroy their progress. You must avoid high interest debt at all costs. Now here's the payoff. Avoiding debt accelerates wealth faster than almost any investment because debt grows against you. Credit cards average over 20% interest. 20%. That means your debt doubles roughly every 3.5 years. Here's what most people don't realize. When you carry a balance, you are investing, just in reverse. You are investing in your own poverty. Now you might be thinking, okay, but what about investing while paying off debt? Here's how. If your debt interest rate is higher than your investment return, pay off the debt. Because eliminating a 20% loss is the same as earning 20%, guaranteed. And that leads to the rule that nobody talks about, but controls everything. You must increase your income over time. Now here's the payoff. Income growth makes every other rule easier because there's a limit to how much you can cut, but no limit to how much you can earn. Here's what most people don't realize. Wealth is built faster through income growth than expense cutting alone. If you increase your income by $10,000 and invest it every year, that alone can make you a millionaire. But the key is you don't increase your lifestyle at the same speed. And now this brings us to the final rule, the rule that ties everything together. And once you understand this, financial stability becomes inevitable. Here it is. You must live below your means forever, not temporarily, forever. Because here's the truth nobody wants to say. Financial stability is not a finish line. It's a lifestyle. It's a permanent gap between what you earn and what you spend. That gap is where your freedom lives. That gap is where your future lives. And that gap is where your peace lives. Because money doesn't buy happiness, but it buys control. And control is everything. So here's the question. Will you follow the rules or follow the crowd? Because the crowd stays broke, but the rules set you free.